Have you ever felt like you're just spinning your wheels, working harder and harder, but not really getting anywhere financially? Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to crack open Robert Kiyosaki's legendary book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and pull out the one core mindset shift that honestly changes the entire game. It's a surprisingly simple idea, but it is powerful. This right here, this is the heart of it all. The rich don't work for money, money works for them. This one idea completely flips the script on everything we're taught about careers and income. We're told to get a good job, work hard, get that paycheck. But this book argues that's the very trap that keeps most people from ever building real wealth. Okay, but what does that actually mean? For money to work for you. It sounds awesome, right? But how does it really happen? Getting your head around this concept is the absolute key to everything else in the book, so let's break it down. To really get the solution, we first have to understand the problem, and Rich Dad has the perfect name for it, the rat race. You know this cycle. I think we all do. You get a raise or a better job, which is great, but then maybe you get a bigger apartment, a newer car, and just like that, your expenses creep up to match that new income. So you're stuck. You have to keep working just as hard, maybe even harder, just to pay for the new lifestyle. You're running faster on the hamster wheel, but you're not actually going anywhere. And this lays out the two paths so clearly. On one side, you've got the poor dad path. The focus is all on job security, climbing the ladder, getting that reliable paycheck. But on the other side, that's rich dad's path. The focus isn't security, it's freedom. The goal isn't the ladder, it's building systems, assets that pump out income all on their own. It's a choice between working for a paycheck or building a machine that gives you a paycheck. So how do you escape the rat race? Well, it all starts with rule number 1. This is the bedrock of financial literacy, and it's almost ridiculously simple. You have to know the difference between an asset and a liability. That's it. That's the whole definition. Forget all the complicated financial jargon. According to Rich Dad, if it puts money in your pocket, month after month, it's an asset. Period. And on the flip side, a liability is just as simple. It's anything that takes money out of your pocket, anything that creates an expense that you have to keep paying for. I love this little chart because it cuts through all the noise. Just follow the cash flow. Is money flowing into your pocket? Great, that's an asset. Is money flowing out of your pocket? Uh-oh, that's a liability. It's really that black and white. And here is the absolute game changer. The rich spend their money buying assets, things that will make them more money. The poor and middle class, well, they spend their money on liabilities that they think are assets. And yet, this is where Kiyosaki drops his most controversial idea. Your house, your family home, if it's costing you a mortgage, taxes, and repairs every month, it's not an asset, it's a liability. Okay, so once you know what a real asset is, rule number 2 tells you what to do next. And this requires a huge mental shift. It's about understanding the difference between your profession and your business. So let me ask you a quick question. Ray Kroc, the guy who built McDonald's into a global empire, used to ask this: what business is McDonald's really in? The obvious answer is hamburgers, right? Nope, it's not hamburgers. Kroc would explain that his profession was selling hamburger franchises. But his business? His business was accumulating the incredibly valuable real estate that all those McDonald's restaurants were built on. See the difference? He knew what his job was, but he also knew what was actually building his wealth. And that is the exact lesson for us. Your profession, your 9-to-5 job, that's how you make money. It's your income generator. But your business is what you do with that money. Your real business is building up your asset column, just like Ray Kroc's business was real estate. It all comes back to this one powerful idea. Use your job as a tool to acquire assets. Don't just work for the money itself. Make that money go out and work for you by buying things that are going to pay you back over and over again. All right, but knowing all this stuff is one thing. Doing it is another. Rule number 3 tackles what might be the biggest hurdle of all, our own emotions. Because as Rich Dad says, our most important financial choices usually aren't logical, they're emotional. That whole rat race trap we talked about, it runs on a very powerful 2-stroke engine, and the fuel is fear and greed. These two primal emotions are what keep that wheel spinning. Think about how this plays out. You feel the fear of not having enough money, right? The typical response is to just work harder, dig in at your job. But the rich feel that same fear and use it as fuel to go learn something new, to find a new opportunity. Then there's that desire, or greed, for a nicer life. The common response is to go out and buy liabilities, a fancy car, a new phone. The rich channel that exact same desire into buying assets that will eventually pay for all those luxuries. It's about being the master of your emotions, not a slave to them. So when you put all these rules together, what's the big takeaway? It's that your financial future isn't really in the hands of your boss or the economy or anyone else. It's determined by what's between your ears, your mindset. This might be one of the most important sentences in the whole book. We've all heard the stories, right? Lottery winners, pro athletes who make millions and end up completely broke. A huge income doesn't mean you're wealthy. It's financial literacy, knowing how to keep your money and make it grow, that builds lasting wealth. And I want to leave you with this really powerful idea. There's a huge difference between being broke and being poor. Being broke is just a temporary situation. You don't have enough cash right now. Anyone can be broke. But being poor in Rich Dad's world, that's a mindset. It's a way of thinking that keeps you trapped. And the very first step toward wealth is deciding you're not going to have a poor mindset anymore. So after all of this, it really comes down to one simple question. And this question isn't for me or anyone else, it's for you. What assets will you start acquiring? What systems are you going to start building that will make your money work for you? Potentially forever. Seriously, your answer to that question will shape your entire financial future.